Hey Dream Chasers, it's Jacey, and today we're gonna go tablet shopping. Well, not really. I'm broke and I already have a drawing tablet, and I'm gonna use this thing until they stop making drivers for it. But a lot of you guys have asked me for advice on what kind of tablets to buy and what's the best brand, and that is a big topic that is way too hard to answer in a comment, so I decided to make a video about it. Real quick, before we dive in, I just want to say that if you are familiar with drawing tablets and you know all the terminology and you know what pen pressure is and tilt sensitivity, this video is probably not for you. So instead of this video, I'm gonna say, why don't you go over to the Venture Crew channel and try the box challenge, do some isometric art, make use of that thing. But if you are brand new to tablets and digital art and you're overwhelmed by the amount of choices and don't know what all the specs mean, that's what this video is for. I'm gonna help you break it down and try my best to introduce you to all of the brands and the specs so it's a lot less confusing. I also want to point out that this is not a review video. I'm not gonna tell you what tablet you should definitely buy or what's the best. I haven't used them all myself. This video is just kind of trying to point you in a direction so you can shop in an informed way. So to start, there are three main types of drawing tablets. One is what you would call like a graphic drawing tablet, or a pen tablet, and that's what I have. It basically is just sort of this mouse pad kind of surface. You draw on it with a stylus, and everything that you do here shows up on your screen. There are also drawing tablets with a screen. They're sometimes called a monitor tablet or a pen tablet with display, and basically it's just a big monitor. You plug it into your computer and you draw right on the monitor. And the third type you would call a pen computer or a computer drawing tablet. There's not really a standard term for any of this stuff, but those would be your standalone devices that you don't need to plug into a computer. They have computing power built in and are able to run graphic software, and that's stuff like your iPad Pro with the Apple Pen, anything that's portable that you can use as a drawing tablet. Alright, so let's talk about brands. I would say at this point the two major players for drawing tablets are Wacom and Huion. When I first got into digital art, the only brand that you could really find a decent tablet from was Wacom, and so they became sort of the industry standard. But in recent years, Huion has become a lot more well-known. When I talk to digital artists, a lot of them say, oh, I have a Huion tablet, it was a lot cheaper, and it's just as good, I really like it. So I think at this point, they're pretty well established as well. I've never used a Huion tablet, and from what I understand, they're a bit cheaper. They don't necessarily have all of the features and functionality that Wacom has, but that they're solid products. There are other brands like, oh gosh, I don't know how to pronounce any of these. So there's Uji, I don't know how you say it. There's Vike, XP Pen, there's Gaumon. I don't know how to say any of these, but there are a lot of these companies springing up. From what I understand, a lot of them were manufacturing parts for other tablet companies, and they realized, we could make our own and make it a little bit cheaper. So there's a lot more brands than there used to be making these products. From what I understand, they're not all necessarily the best of the best, but I think all of these new brands is gonna just be helpful for the consumer because you have more choices, you have, more competition, which is gonna make pricing competitive. I think that's a good thing. And then there are also some brands who are established for other things that also make tablets. So there's the Dell Canvas, which my buddy uses and really loves. There's the iPad Pro, which a lot of artists really dig. There's stuff like the Samsung Galaxy Tab with the S Pen. You do have to make sure that you buy the one with the S Pen if you want pressure sensitivity. There's a ton of electronics companies kind of diving into this space now, which I think is also really good. So where to buy them? Personally, I do most of my shopping on Amazon just because I have Prime. I find it convenient, the whole 2-day shipping thing. You can buy a lot of tablets directly from the manufacturer, so you can go to Wacom's website or Huion's website and buy them there. And at this point, I'm pretty sure you can walk into like a Best Buy or a Michael's craft store. So if you're into the brick and mortar thing and that's more comfortable for you, you can go do that. Obviously, your selection of tablets might be kind of limited and the pricing might not be as competitive as online, but if you feel better walking into a store and walking out with something, you totally can. Okay, let's talk about reviews. So personally, I'm a little skeptical of any reviews that I see online because I know that a lot of these companies are buying reviews. I actually had a small tablet company reach out to me and ask if I wanted to review a tablet for my YouTube channel. And at first I'm like, yeah, that's so cool. I made it. I'm a YouTuber now. But the terms of the deal were that they would give me money to buy it on Amazon. I would leave a positive review on Amazon's site and then do an unboxing video. And honestly, that just felt really shady to me. I'm pretty sure it violates Amazon's terms to do that, and it's just not something I personally feel good about. I wrote them back to say that if they wanted to send me a tablet, I'd be happy to give an honest review on my YouTube channel, and that I didn't feel comfortable, leaving a fake review on Amazon because that violates their terms. They were like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem, let's do it. And then they kind of just fell out of communicating with me, so I don't think that's happening. That was a few months ago. That's a very common tactic, unfortunately, and it means that reviews are really hard to trust. So if you are thinking about a specific tablet and you're looking at the reviews, I would say look at the 3 and 4-star reviews to get maybe a better sense of what real people are saying. On Amazon, they have like a customer question section, and that's really helpful because if anybody else had questions, you can see that, and that's usually more like real conversations between people. And I would also say check out art communities on Facebook and Discord and just talk to people, like what kind of tablet do you use, what do you recommend, and why. That's going to be a lot more genuine than reviews, unfortunately. Okay, so let's talk about the features and what they all mean. The most important feature, honestly, is pressure sensitivity. My advice whenever anybody says what kind of tablet should I buy is anything in your budget as long as it has pressure sensitivity. So what exactly is pressure sensitivity? Basically, without pressure sensitivity, you are using a mouse. It's kind of like when you try to sign your name when you're paying with a credit card, and it just feels really clunky and unnatural, and it doesn't feel like real writing. That's because you're not getting any of the nuance that you would get if you're using a real pen or pencil. Pressure sensitivity makes it so when you press down harder, your lines get thicker or darker. When you go lighter, it's thinner, and it's a much more organic way to draw. Most tablets at this point, I feel like, come with like over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, even kind of cheaper ones. The tablet I started on was the Intuos 3, and it had 1,024 points of pressure sensitivity, and it was fine. I made tons of art with that for years and didn't have an issue with it. The one I'm using now is a few years older, and that has 2,048 points of pressure sensitivity, and that's fine for me. I make tons of art all the time with that amount of pressure sensitivity and don't have any problems. And now most models come with 8,192 points of pressure sensitivity, something like that. And that's pretty standard even for cheaper models, but it's just something to look at when you're buying a tablet. Make sure it has pressure sensitivity and you're good. Tilt sensitivity. And what tilt sensitivity is, it literally means when you tilt your pen, it can tell that you've tilted it, and there are tools that will use that and make your lines maybe thicker or thinner depending on if you've tilted it. There are like spray brushes that would kind of spatter. That's a really cool feature. I don't know that it's necessary to make digital art. If that's kind of a breaking point with your budget, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Size is a really big factor. A lot of people think I need to get the biggest tablet that I can get, and that's the only way I'm gonna feel comfortable to draw, and I don't think that's really true. I think a lot of people actually feel comfortable with like a medium-sized tablet. Mine is kind of a medium size, and this is, I don't know, roughly maybe a little bigger than a piece of paper. I think that's a good size for a tablet because a lot of people tend to draw kind of small anyway, and a really big space can be kind of overwhelming. You might not actually use all of that surface area. And the other thing to consider is your workspace. If you don't have a ton of space, a small tablet is fine, especially if that's what fits into your budget. Really, a lot of this comes down to budget, and if you're a beginner to digital art, it's okay to not spend a ton of money on the biggest, best stuff, to just see if you like it. You can always upgrade later if you're into it. The other thing to pay attention to is the stylus. So a few things you want to find out is, does your stylus require batteries? And if so, what kind of batteries? Wacom products don't usually require batteries, and I find that so much more convenient than having to deal with batteries. I personally wouldn't want a stylus that required batteries or recharging because I like to draw for like 10 hours at a time sometimes, and that just sounds really inconvenient and annoying. Some people don't mind it. I don't know. The other thing you can look at is, does it have an eraser? So I think Wacom might be the only brand that offers this. But what's really cool about this stylus is I can flip it upside down, and this actually functions as an eraser. I can erase my work. Photoshop and Clip Studio automatically detect that I'm using an eraser and know that I want to erase. A lot of people tell me they don't ever use their eraser though, and they just hit like E on their keyboard to switch. And I think if you are looking to save a little money and you don't want to buy a Wacom product and you're gonna skip the eraser, that's totally fine. And also check if your tablet comes with extra nibs, the little point thing, because they do wear down over time. And you can also get different nibs for some styluses. There's ones that are like thicker, or they kind of have a different feel, so that's another thing you can look at. Okay, let's talk hardware and software. A lot of people ask me, do I need a computer with a drawing tablet? And that depends on what kind of tablet you're getting. If you're getting something that's portable and standalone, then no. But generally speaking, you do need a computer with a drawing tablet, and the answer to what kind of computer you need really depends on the software you're going to be using. So I would suggest looking up the hardware requirements of whatever software you're planning to use. You can literally just type in like Photoshop hardware requirements and get your answers. Which brings me to software. What kind of software should you be using? There's so many different types of art programs out there, ranging from free to very expensive. You can get started with free open source software like Krita. You can use something that's pretty affordable like Clip Studio Paint, which it's usually $50 and it's a flat one-time fee. A lot of times it's on sale for $25, which is awesome if you can grab it that cheap. And then there's stuff like Photoshop, which for a long time has been considered kind of an industry standard. That's changing a bit, I believe. And that's kind of expensive because it requires a monthly fee. I think currently it's like 20 something a month. It might be cheaper if you're a student. If you get the whole Creative Suite and you get Premiere and Illustrator and all these other programs, it's like, I don't know, $60 a month or something. If you're a professional and you make use of all that software, that might be worth it to you. But for a lot of people just starting off, that's very pricey, and I wouldn't recommend that if you're brand new. And if you're using the iPad Pro, there's Procreate, which honestly, I never thought about what Procreate costs. Hold up. Does Procreate cost money? Okay, $9.99 apparently for Procreate, which is pretty affordable for art software, I think. And speaking of the iPad, Clip Studio Pro is also available on the iPad, but I believe that's like a $7 monthly fee instead of the flat fee it is on the PC. A lot of people aren't crazy about that, but they do like the convenience of being able to work on their PC and then and then taking that file over to the iPad and using it on the go. So that's one of those things that it's worth it to you. If you're a professional and you're on the go a lot, you might want to use it. And another question that I think a lot of beginners and especially parents have is, how easy is it to just plug it in and go? I don't really know how to answer that without trying every brand of tablet, but I would imagine that most of them require that you install a driver. It probably comes with a disk, or you can download it. And obviously you need to install some art programs. Personally, I'm gonna say this. I've only used Wacom tablets, and I've had issues with every single one that I've used. I've had to reinstall drivers multiple times, update the drivers. Oh, or there was that update to Windows where you had to like fix Windows and do all this stuff because Windows broke tablets for everybody and all of Twitter was panicking. That was, some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think you have to be like super tech savvy to get a tablet, but you have to at least know how to install a driver and some software. Okay, let's talk budget. I think this section of the video is probably going to age the poorest because pricing is going to change all of the time. But I'm going to try to, as of right now, early 2019, kind of point you in a direction based on your budget. All right, so if you're looking to stay under $100 for this price, you're probably looking at a drawing tablet that doesn't come with a screen, and you might not be getting anything by Wacom. Their stuff usually starts off a little pricey, but there are tablets in this price range that are a decent size, have pressure sensitivity, and will work really well. Some of them might not have tilt sensitivity, some of them might require batteries with the Stylus. Just make sure you read the specs because it's gonna vary a lot. And I just wanna say that there's nothing wrong with starting out as cheap as possible and seeing if you really enjoy digital art before you invest and upgrade and spend, hundreds of dollars on a tablet. You can always do that later. They're tiny, but Huon even offers stuff as cheap as $20. When I say tiny, I mean they're like barely bigger than a cell phone, but it's something to get started and just feel out, do I like this or not? Personally, I'd probably spring the extra like $30-40 and get something a little bit bigger. But the point is, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get started in digital art. All right, so let's say you have maybe between like $200 to $400 to spend on a tablet. This is where things get really nuts because you can get a no-name display tablet with a monitor for like $200 and it's tiny and the screen resolution sucks and it's an untested brand. but it is a thing you could buy. But for this price range, if you want a solid product, I would check out Huon or Wacom personally. For $180, you can get something like the Huon WH1409V2, which is a pretty large tablet. It has like a 13.8 by 8.6 active area, which is the part that you draw, not the whole thing. And it has 8192 pressure sensitivity, it has tilt functionality, it has 12 express keys, which is really useful for doing digital art efficiently, and it's wireless, which is cool, and the stylus doesn't require batteries. I would say that's a solid purchase with a lot of bang for your buck. For about $380, you can get a medium Wacom Intuos Pro. It's got an 8.7 by 5.8 active area, which is decent size. It has 8192 pressure sensitivity on both the tip and the eraser. It has 60 levels of tilt sensitivity, which I don't really know what that means because Huon, it's just like, does it have this, yes or no? And then Wacom's like talking about numbers. I don't really know what these mean, but it has it. It's also wireless. It doesn't require batteries for the stylus. It also has express keys, which according to Wacom is trademarked, so I don't know if Huon's allowed to call theirs express keys, but they do. And it has a touch ring, which is really cool because it's this little scrolly wheel thing, and you can use it to like zoom or change your brush size really intuitively. I have one on my tablet. I really like it a lot. So just to compare those two models that I mentioned, you're getting basically the same tablet with the same pressure sensitivity and less surface area for more than double the price with Wacom, which might sound kind of high, but you get an eraser and a little wheel thingy. That's worth like 200 bucks, right? Honestly, I can't really tell you if that's worth the money or not. That's a personal choice. I really like the eraser. I like the wheel thingy. I like Wacom products because I think they're reliable and they're good. I've never used Huon, but I've heard good things. I think it's totally up to you what kind of product you want to buy. All right, and if you want to get a decent display tablet with a screen, you're looking at least $500. Size is going to be the biggest deciding factor in how much. As the size increases a little bit, the price goes up kind of a lot, you know, and basically at this point you're monitor shopping, so there's more specs to consider. But you know, the main ones are really size and resolution. And if your budget is over $1,000, here's where you can really start asking the question, do I want a really nice monitor display that I can plug into my computer, or do I want something portable? For years, I've dreamed of getting a Cintiq 22 HD. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. To me, that was just like one of those things that's like, I made it as an artist and I have a Cintiq. And those are currently about $1,700, which is a lot of money to me. But I recently started thinking, if I was gonna spend that kind of money, maybe I would be better off getting like an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, which is like $1,200, and they're not really comparable products, right? One is a beautiful display you plug into your computer, another is a portable device that's really convenient, and it does kind of get you in the Apple product ecosystem, which means it has like weird restrictions on like size, storage stuff, which I kind of hate. You know what? I'm not turning this video into an Apple rant. I'm not doing it. And I think Procreate sounds really cool, and the only place you can get that is on the iPad Pro. I love that it makes little time-lapse videos. I think that's really cool. The point of this little tangent though is to say that if you have that kind of budget, you have a lot more options to you in terms of what you can get. And honestly, I'm super overwhelmed by the possibilities of what you would do if you had like a $1,000 to $2,000 budget. And this video is already running way long, so I'm just gonna say, I can't relate to this problem that you have. Good luck. You're on your own. Bye. So hopefully this video was helpful to anybody who's looking to buy a drawing tablet and didn't know really where to get started. If you still have questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you already have a tablet, I'm gonna go ahead and say don't just link it. I don't want to turn the comments into like a big spammy, you know, link fest. But if you want to talk about your tablet and what you liked about it and what drew you to it or what maybe you don't like about it, feel free to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, keep drawing, and chase your dreams. This video is brought to you by my wonderful patrons. Thank you all so much for helping me chase my dreams. Join me on Patreon to get your name in the credits, have early access to videos, artwork, bloopers, a monthly coloring contest, and a bunch of other stuff. Go to patreon.com/JaceyChase for more info. Thanks again for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button so I know for sure. Otherwise, how am I supposed to know that? I'm not a mind reader. And if you subscribe, at the end of every video, there's usually a Riley cameo a lot of the times. Not always, but like a lot. So if you like doggos, I'm bribing you with doggos. Alright, bye!